Hi, this is Cecilia from Tarot by Cecilia, and today is Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. The tarot card for today is the Knight of Cups. This is honestly one of the favorites for all of you out there. It usually gets the greatest response, pretty much anything that I put out. And I have a feeling, though, about today's energy because, people from all over the world read and listen when it comes to this blog. But wherever you're at some point in the day, you're going to be feeling this. You're either going to be dealing with the moon in Pisces or the moon being void for quite some time. And I don't usually talk about that. I hope to incorporate it into the blog and the page more in the future because it's something of which we should all be aware. To me, it's like a mini Mercury retrograde. But, it brings up the side of the Knight of Cups, whether it's the Pisces moon or the void. That dreaminess that's involved. Okay, because the Knight of Cups is a bit of a daydreamer. And that's one of the reasons that he's always going so slow. He gets a little bit distracted along the way, wherever he's headed. And everybody's always waiting for that romance to come. And he's just kind of out there doing his own thing. So, we have a tendency to get that way ourselves from time to time. And when the moon is void or when the moon is in Pisces, and, just in a daydreamy kind of thing, that's what can happen. So while I would love to say everybody out there is going to have romance in their day, probably not. But some of you will, of course. It's bound to be that way. It's the way things average out in the world. But yeah, it's just kind of that laid back kind of feeling. And it's going to be, like I said, one or the other. It depends on where you are, when you're experiencing your day. And some of you are ahead of others, so keep that in mind. And you'll be dealing with the moon in Pisces and then the void. Now, I have to tell you, if that energy is not working for you, what do I always say? Energies pass, all right? And of course, the next logical step is that the moon will go into Aries and all of your fire will come back and you'll be ready to tackle everything again. So, just like I said, if it isn't working, don't worry about it. If there's romance available, give it some thought. But do remember that Mercury is already in shadow. So, what do I always say? You don't want to start a relationship with anyone. So if someone's flirty or whatever, or turning on the charm, just enjoy it. But don't really do anything about it. Now, with regard to the charm, this can also be you. All right? Maybe in order to make things happen today, you need to go that extra, above board and be a little more charming to really get your point across, to get what it is that you need out of a particular situation. There's a lot of ways that this can go. That's all I'm saying. I don't think this is about your knight in shining armor showing up and saying, okay, let's go off to, Neverland. No, whatever. And of course, while the moon, does continue in Pisces for some of you for today, keep in mind, that, like, your imagination may just be working overtime. Like I said, this is a very imaginative, dreamy kind of night. Can kind of get lost in thought. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with the imagination because so many good ideas spring forth. And what do I always have to say? Set aside, a tablet. Write everything down. Because maybe it's not the time to act on them. But if things come to you that sound wonderful, write them down. Keep track of them because there is going to be a time when it is a good time to do them. All right? And one last thing before I go. Okay, you might encounter people who, I want to say maybe are a little bit moody, a little bit cranky. Yeah, it's Mercury retrograde. We have to talk about kind of the flip side of this, even though Mercury's not retrograde yet. Because we do have, and I've spoken about it a couple other times this week, that Saturn-Sun conjunction coming up on the 10th. And we're getting closer. Some people will feel it sooner than others. And, then after that comes the full moon. It's not too likely they're feeling the full moon yet. But yeah, you could come across some moody people. Just let them be their little cranky selves and go on your way. That's the best way to do it, the best way to handle it. And, make sure that it does not interfere with the pleasantries of your day. And that may be where it becomes necessary for you to turn on more charm. So, it's all about the mood of the day and the imagination leading you to places that you may not otherwise have gone. So I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll see you here again tomorrow. And as always, have a great day.